The wind howled like a hungry wolf, whipping dust and dry leaves down the deserted village road. A lone figure, weathered and weary, trudged through the swirling chaos. This was a Kerner, a traveler with a knapsack slung over his shoulder and a pot hanging from his walking stick. He had been on the road for weeks, and hunger gnawed at his belly. As dusk settled, casting long, skeletal shadows, a Kerner stumbled upon a small village nestled in the valley. Smoke curled from chimneys, promising warmth and, more importantly, food. But as he approached the first house, a wizened woman with a scowl creased her face and slammed the door shut the moment she saw him. Disheartened, a Kerner tried again at the next house, only to be met with a similar response. Dejected, a Kerner sank down on a large rock by the village well. Despair threatened to engulf him. Just then, a curious young girl with bright eyes and pigtails peeked out from behind a corner. Her name was Hilara, and unlike the adults, she wasn't afraid of strangers. "Are you hungry, old man?" Hilara's voice was like a sweet chime piercing the heavy silence. A Kerner looked at her, his heart touched by her concern. "Indeed, child," he admitted, his voice raspy. "I haven't had a decent meal in days." Hilara's brow furrowed. "But why won't they share their food?" she asked, gesturing towards the houses. A Kerner sighed. "They seem to be a distrustful bunch. Perhaps times are hard, or maybe they fear strangers." Hilara, however, refused to accept defeat. "Wait here," she whispered, a mischievous glint in her eyes. She scurried off and returned moments later with an empty wooden bowl and a hesitant smile. "Would you like some stone soup?" she asked hopefully. A Kerner blinked. Stone soup? He had never heard of such a thing. "Stone soup," he repeated, his curiosity piqued. Hilara nodded eagerly. "It's the most delicious soup you've ever tasted. But it needs a special ingredient to get it started." And with a dramatic flourish, she presented him with a smooth, round stone from her pocket. With a twinkle in his eye, a Kerner decided to play along. He took the stone, examined it with mock seriousness, and declared, "Ah, yes, a most excellent choice. This stone has the essence of 100 hearty meals within it." Hilara clapped her hands, delighted. Together, they walked to the well and filled a Kerner's pot with water. A Kerner then ceremoniously placed the stone in the pot, and they set it over a small fire Hilara had helped him build. News of the stone soup spread through the village. Soon, curious villagers peeked out their windows and doors, their earlier fear replaced by a growing sense of intrigue. A burly farmer with a thick beard approached. "Stone soup, you say?" He scoffed. "What kind of foolishness is that?" A Kerner, stirring the pot with a branch, smiled sagely. "This, my friend, is no ordinary stone. It is a magic stone, capable of drawing out the most delicious flavors from the simplest ingredients." The farmer grunted, unconvinced. However, the aroma of wood smoke and simmering water stirred a hunger he hadn't acknowledged before. "Perhaps," he mumbled, "a carrot wouldn't hurt." He shuffled away and returned with a plum carrot, which Hilara tossed gleefully into the pot. The villagers watched with growing interest as the carrot swirled in the water around the stone. Next came a kindly baker, her face flowered. "A little onion wouldn't go amiss, would it?" she offered, adding a peeled onion to the pot. The aroma intensified, wafting through the village like a seductive invitation. One by one, the villagers, unable to resist the enticing scent, contributed something to the soup. A grumpy old woman brought a handful of dried peas. A young couple added a few potatoes, and a group of children chipped in with some fresh herbs. Soon, the pot overflowed with a rich stew bubbling merrily over the fire. As the villagers gathered around the fire, their initial hostility vanished. Laughter and chatter filled the air as they shared stories and helped themselves to generous bowls of the surprisingly delicious soup. The stone, of course, remained untouched at the bottom of the pot, a silent symbol of the power of community and shared generosity. A Kerner, his heart warmed by the camaraderie, regaled the villagers with tales of his travels. Hilara, The little spark who had ignited the village's spirit beamed with pride. The stone soup, born out of an empty stomach and a child's ingenuity, had brought the villagers together in a way nothing else could. The next morning, Akerner prepared to depart. The villagers, no longer strangers, insisted he stay for another night. They showered him with gifts of fresh bread, cheese, and cured meats, a testament to their newfound appreciation for sharing. As Akerner said his goodbyes, Ilara tugged on his sleeve. "Will you come back and make stone soup with us again?" she asked, her voice full of hope. Akerner knelt and gently ruffled her hair. "Perhaps, little one," he replied with a smile. "But I believe you've already learned the true secret of stone soup. It's not about the stone itself, but about the spirit of sharing that it brings out in people." Ilara's eyes widened in understanding. She looked around at the smiling faces of the villagers, now united by a shared experience. The warmth of the fire and the lingering scent of the soup lingered in the air, a reminder of the magic that had unfolded. News of the stone soup spread beyond the village. Travelers passing through heard the tale and stopped to try their luck. But the villagers, having learned their lesson, no longer needed a stranger with a magic stone. They had discovered that they themselves possessed a magic ingredient: the willingness to share and cooperate. The village, once known for its isolation, became a beacon of hospitality. Travelers were welcomed with open arms and invited to partake in a communal meal. Not necessarily of stone soup, but of whatever the villagers could offer. The tradition of the stone soup dinner became a regular event, a celebration of community and the transformative power of generosity. Years later, Akerner, his hair now streaked with silver, found himself back in the same village. He was weary from his journey and his steps faltered. As he approached the well, a young woman with bright eyes and pigtails skipped towards him. "Excuse me, sir," she said politely. "Are you hungry? We're having stone soup tonight." Akerner's heart swelled with a familiar warmth. He looked into the young woman's eyes and saw a reflection of Ilara, the little girl who had changed their village forever. With a chuckle, he accepted her invitation, ready to share another bowl of soup, not of stone, but of community and the enduring spirit of togetherness.